कृत्वा ततो राजन्महायोगेश्वरो हरिः दर्शयामास पार्थाय परमं रूपम् ऐश्वरम् दर्शयामास पार्थाय परमं रूपम् ऐश्वरम् अनेकवक्त्रनयनम् अनेक अद्भुत दर्शनम् अनेकवक्त्रनयनम् अनेक अद्भुत दर्शनम् अनेक दिव्याभरणम् दिव्यानेकोद्यतायुधम् अनेक दिव्याभरणम् दिव्यानेकोद्यतायुधम्.
Zoals rivieren hun namen en vormen verliezen als zij opgaan in de oceaan, zo verliezen ook de verschillende vormen van aanbidding en de spirituele wegen hun naam en vorm als zij het uiteindelijke doel bereiken. Puja staat voor de aanbidding van het goddelijke. Het is een unieke discipline omdat alle zintuigen, die gewoonlijk afgedaan worden als rovers van de geest, gebruikt mogen worden. Puja is niet een kinderlijke verheerlijking of aanbidding van een beeld van God, maar een krachtig hulpmiddel om de geest door middel van een vorm van het goddelijke te richten op het Allerhoogste. Niet alleen goddelijke figuren uit de hindoeïstische traditie worden vereerd, maar ook levende leraren, zoals hier de Shankaracharya, Swami Jayendra van Kanchi Kamakodi. Deze man wordt als een goddelijke leraar en gids gezien en heeft miljoenen volgelingen. Tijdens onze reis konden we hem ontmoeten in Delhi. Ook hier geldt dat een ontmoeting met de Shankaracharya de geest van de toegewijde richt op het Allerhoogste. Puja helpt om het hele wezen van de mens te zuiveren van egoïstische motieven en richt de geest op het hoogste. Alles bij puja heeft betekenis. Alle handelingen en voorwerpen helpen mee om de geest eenpuntig te richten en de 5 zintuigen worden op natuurlijke wijze verbonden met de 5 corresponderende elementen.
गंगादि सर्वतीर्थेभ्यो मया प्रार्थनयाहृतं तोयमेतत्सुखस्पर्शं पाद्यार्थं प्रतिगृह्यतां पाद्यं समर्पयामि ईश्वरमालिने नमः। नमस्ते देवदेवेश नमस्ते धरणीधरा नमस्ते कमलाकान्ता ग्रहणार्घ्यं नमोऽस्तुते अर्घ्यं समर्पयामि ईश्वरमालिने नमः। कर्पूरवासितं तोयं मन्दाकिन्या समाहितं आज्यं मदां जगन्नाथामया भक्तिदा आज्वन्यं समर्पयामि ईश्वरमालिने नमः। गोपगोपीश्वराय नमः योगिने नमः। ओं कोटिसूर्यसमप्रभाय नमः इलापते नमः वरस्मै ज्योतिषे नमः यादवेन्द्राय नमः यदूत्वाय नमः वनमालिने नमः। ओं पीतवाससे नमः वारिजातबहार मधुरानादाय नमः द्वारकानायकाय नमः बलिने नमः। ओं वृन्दावनान्तसञ्चारिणे नमः तुलसीधामभूषणाय नमः। ओं स्यमन्तगणे हर्त्रे नमः नरनारायणात्मकाय नमः कुब्जाष्टवरदाय नमः। ओं मायिने नमः परमपुरुषाय नमः मुष्टिकासुरचाणूरमल्लयुद्धविशारदाय नमः। ओं संसारवैरिणे नमः कंसारे नमः मुरारे नमः नरकान्तकाय नमः। अनादिब्रह्मचारिणे नमः कृष्णाविष्णुकर्षकाय नमः शिशुपालक्षेत्रे नमः ओम दुर्योधनकुलान्तकाय नमः विदुराक्रूरवरदाय नमः विश्वरूपवर्षकाय नमः सत्यवादिये नमः पुष्पे पूजयामि साज्यं त्रिवर्तिसंयुक्तं मलिनायोषितं मया दीपं गृहाणि देवेश त्रयोतिर्मिरामः भक्त्या दीपं प्रयच्छामि देवाय ब्रह्मस्मि राहि मां निर्याद्घोरादीपज्योति नमोऽस्तु ते दीपं दर्शयामि आध्वर्यं समर्पयामि पुष्पै पूजयामि आध्वर्यं समर्पयामि शिवन्मालिने नमः त्र्यम्बाबलं दृढं क्षीरं गोधूमस्य चूर्णकं शर्करायुक्तनैवेद्यं संवादं भक्ष्यमुत्तमम् मधुपर्कं समर्पयामि शिवन्मालिने नमः पञ्चामृतं समर्पयामि शिवन्मालिने नमः महानैवेद्यं निवेदयामि शिवन्मालिने नमः पायसादीनि समर्पयामि शिवन्मालिने नमः फलानि समर्पयामि शिवन्मालिने नमः मध्ये मध्ये अमृतपानीयं समर्पयामि प्राणाय स्वाहा पनाय स्वाहा व्यानाय स्वाहा उदनाय स्वाहा समनाय स्वाहा ओम ब्रह्मणे स्वाहा
This is actually a very important question for us. In the field of karma yoga, every action can be used to find divinity, and it has all to do how you do it. So, why are there such actions like your puja? You every morning you perform puja. How's that? What's the use of these religious? Not only puja in this country, of course, and we have other rituals, so-called special rituals. What's the use of that? Can't we do it with just cooking in the kitchen?
Yeah, certainly. Now, what is the use of God taking on a form? Brahman is there. The same answers this. Because the mind of man needs certain hooks to hang on to, catch on to. Supposing you see a big screen, white, absolutely white screen in front of you. It's difficult to concentrate. Just put one dot, one black dot somewhere. Immediately, mind focuses on it. So, that infinite formless Brahman takes on forms in order to help us. And puja, do you want to, is this a question on puja, by the way?
It's actually, yes.
So puja is a very wonderful method of concentrating the mind. In a way, it is a better method even than meditation, because puja, when done properly, is a perfect meditation itself. Because in all other types of practices, the indriyas or the sense organs are supposed to be traitors. They betray you. The eyes lead you out, the ears listen to sounds, and nose this. All the indriyas are always trying to pull you here and there, even when you want to keep calm and try to meditate, close your eyes and so on. In puja, what you do, these betrayers are turned into your friends. The sages produce a unique method by which the betrayers themselves were turned into friends who would aid you to concentrate on that. The form of your personalized and divinity is kept in front, and all aspects, the five indriyas correspond also to the five elements in nature. Five elements in nature are connected with the five indriyas. That is, what are the five elements? Akasha or space, Vayu, air, Agni, fire, up, water, and Prithvi or earth. Now these five are very closely connected. That Akasha in space is where sound travels. Sound cannot travel without space, akasha, ether. And what is the organ of sound? Sense organ of sound, the ear. So it's directly connected with the element of space. Then akasha, then comes vayu, air. What is the qualification of air? Touch. It's because when air passes over, the sense of touch is what is the same. What is the sense of touch in an organ of sense of touch? The skin. Now then the next is akasha. Next is fire, agni or fire. What is the qualification of agni, light, fire? Form. It's only light, fire as form. It starts taking form. And what is the organ of the organ of sight? Again, it enables us to see. Again, connection is there. And then water. Now water, what is the from Agni comes water, and water is the oh, you have already. Vayu is where have we gone wrong? What was the first one I said? Hearing. So this is water is taste. It's water which lends taste to anything. When anything is dry totally, we have to soak it really to get back its taste, dry vegetables and so on. So water lends taste. So that is tongue is the sense organ of taste. And finally prithvi or earth. And earth, the quality is gandha or smell. So the sense organ of the nose is directly connected with that. So all these aspects of nature and all the five indriyas are incorporated into concentrating the mind. That is, when you look at it, what are you doing? The sense of touch is promoted by the flowers which you touch and so on. The eyes are beguiled into looking at these beautiful things, the form in front of you, and so many beautiful things on which you are laid on your altar. Then the sense of smell again is concentrated due to incense, which immediately, when you put incense, a set sense of holiness envelops you. Then the sense of hearing is activated by the mantras or the songs or bhajans which are being chanted. And the tongue itself is kept busy chanting these things, and eventually even taste, because you can always think of the delicious prasad it's going to get at the end of the meal. So all the sense organs are activated and focused on the object of worship, so that it becomes a form, a very high form of sadhana when it is practiced without hope of reward. When a pujari does it in a temple, usually they do it for some reward they are getting, for some benefit. They get a monthly salary. Some people pay them, please sing so much of this thing in my name and I will give you so much of money and so on. So that, again, there was a degeneration. But when you do it by yourself, once for oneself, or for the benefit of some people, and then it becomes a very high source of inspiration and method of concentration of the mind. So there are many forms of worship or rituals like this in every religion, which help the mind to focus and give an impetus for better concentration. So that is why it's doing. But of course, even saints, it's said, who get into, they reached a very high level, they may still continue doing many of these. Krishna himself worshipped the gods, worshipped the sun and so on. Why? He said because it was his duty. Whatever a great man does, the others follow. So if you think, oh, he does nothing, so why should I do nothing? This chap must be needing it. The other man may not need it, therefore he does not. But if you don't do it, whatever the king does, whatever a prime minister does, all that is the focus of attention. So it is again as an example you can do it. For your own self you can do it. For an example, after you don't need it anymore, you worship is a great help in aiding the mind to concentrate.
Een andere methode om met het Allerhoogste in verbinding te komen is door middel van studie of de jnana yoga. Een van de mensen die zijn leven aan deze weg heeft gewijd is Swami Prabhudananda. Hij organiseert al 20 jaar dagelijks studies en helpt op deze wijze om de geest van zijn studenten te richten op het goddelijke. Door begrip en onderzoek verliest de mens zijn geloof en vertrouwen in de materiële wereld en richt de geest zich op natuurlijke wijze op het hogere.
Now, see, supposing you present God as an individual, then it creates problems, it creates contradictions. In India, we present God, there are no gods. There are no gods. There is only one God. We don't have gods in India. Unfortunately, there are a lot of temples and a lot of forms in which we worship God. Somehow or other this has been presented to the West, that the Indians worship many gods. Because the Westerners, you see, they don't come to India, all of them, they don't have exposure to India, and whatever you tell them, they believe. You see, they believe. Whatever you tell them about any country, they just come to believe. And a lot of injustice has been done to the culture of this land, the people of this land. By telling the West that Indians believe in many gods. I can show you, if you know Sanskrit, every hymn, every verse in the entire literature, vast literature, the emphasis that is laid on is that there is only one truth, one God. Sadeva saumya idamagrasi ekameva advitiyam. Ekam, only one, advitiyam, there is no other. We worship one God in many forms, but we don't worship many gods. The word Advaitam is an Indian word. You know what is Advaitam? Non-dual. There is no second. And now they go and tell that the Indians worship many gods. So that means they are all tribals. My God, this literature which has been there lost so many thousands of years, flourished. So it can't be really, it's not a tribal culture or anything, it's because lack of exposure to this. A lot of bias also, a lot of prejudice. Ignorance and prejudice both combined, they have played havoc. Now, devotion, inquiry and duty are all taught as choiceless for every individual. They are not different paths. Duty, devotion and inquiry. Duty is choiceless for survival. It has nothing to do with liberation. Duty is only for survival. You have to do your duty. And devotion is necessary for mental purity. And inquiry is necessary for understanding, for gaining clarity about your nature. We are in need of doing duty. We are in need of prayer. We are also in need of inquiry. Now your question is, people may not have the faith in prayers. Yes, we can only dismiss, we develop disbelief in prayer only when we present God as an individual. But here we present God, the literature presents God not as one of the individuals, one superhuman, one super individual, presents God as the truth of every individual, as the substance of every living being, the ununderstood substance of the entire universe. We don't put God at a point in the creation. God we present as the very substance of the matter, the unit, the five elements, the body and the mind. This entire creation is rooted in God as the source of every individual. Once we present God as the source of the universe, then you have no way, you cannot object to it, you cannot refute it. You can't refute it.
Mata Devi van de Vanamali Gita Yogashram in Rishikesh is een van de grote levende voorbeelden die de Bhagavad Gita in ieder aspect van het leven een plaats heeft gegeven. Naast de puja gebruikt zij de weg van kennis om de geest te zuiveren en geschikt te maken om met het goddelijke in contact te komen. Studie van de geschriften helpt de geest om het gevoel van dualiteit te boven te komen.
Namostu Devyasa Vishala Buddhi Kullara Vindaya Davatra Netra. As you realize, bhakti or devotion is given only at the end of, after 6 chapters of really grueling talk on how the yogi should be and how action should be done. Because bhakti, though one thinks it's easy to know what bhakti is, what devotion is. Bhakti does not mean saying Ram, 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 Christ, 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 or Shri Krishna, Krishna, or going to 100 temples or churches or lighting candles or doing some ringing bells and doing some, yeah. Bhakti is not that. Bhakti is a kind of a intimate association or integral association with your own self. The self of the whole world, it can be, which comes down to your own self. It's like meditation. Except that in meditation there is no differentiation between the subject and the object. And in bhakti, some trace always remains. Because for some reason the bhakta never likes to be totally melt into the object of his devotion. Because after all, if you love something, there must be some little separation, slight. Otherwise, then there is not much fun in it, because there's some sort of a give and take in love. So in bhakti, there is slight separateness, but it is actually only a game. Eventually, in the final run, you know that there is no difference. That the highest love is love of the self. Love of everything else depends on love of the self. It's because, yesterday we discussed, it's because of the self in the object. The infinite beckoning or drawing the infinite within you. It's because of the object itself. How is it full of, worthy of your love, any object? How is anything in the world worthy of your love? Only because the infinite, that self is ever present in it. And that is what is drawing you, and not the external object, which you mistakenly suppose that it is the external object which is drawing you. But actually the object, as I said, is totally innocent. It has neither power to charm you, nor to send you away. Neither to make you hate it or to love it. The object is quite indifferent. I mean, it has nothing. Neither of these tunes are there. But you superimpose something on that.
Mohan heeft dienstbaarheid tot kunst verheven. Continu is hij bezig om mensen en de ashram te ondersteunen. Deze niet aflatende inspanning helpt hem om zelfzuchtige motieven uit zijn leven te bannen. De verbinding met de innerlijke blijheid die onzelfzuchtige handelingen met zich meebrengen, is de motor die hem de energie geeft om door te gaan. Werk is voor hem een methode om met het goddelijke in contact te komen.
Supporting and doing as much as you can for other people, for the children here, for the ashram here. What has that all to do with devotion? Has it something to do with devotion? With worship of God? Or is it something completely different?
See, work is worship. For me, work is worship. So, and to express, the devotion, the only way to express devotion is through action, as far as I am concerned. And this we try to, translate some here, in the ashram atmosphere. So there are very, very many ways of social service, social work, and all that. But you see, we are trying to find a kind of ideal here. You see, a kind of synthesis between, philosophy. It's just not enough to, learn scriptures, texts, and so many mantras and this and then. But as you say, the proof of the whole thing lies in actually how you translate it into in your action. In your action, in day-to-day action. So there comes, devotion and work.
So many people work, but when you ask them, is this a type of devotion, you would say, no, I'm just working to earn money or fame or whatever. How comes the difference in ordinary work for earning money or getting a career, or something like that, and when turns it into devotion? What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a whole difference. You see, when we work here in an ashram atmosphere, we have kind of given up, our kind of professional career or whatever it is. Personally, I was an engineer, you know that. So I gave up that and come here, and we spend our time here. Part of it in study, part of it in study self-knowledge, and then practice of yoga, meditation, and things like that. And what for? The question is what for? Okay, that is important in order to improve yourself. But where does that improvement show? Somewhere it has to, it has to be demonstrated somewhere. So that has to be in action. And that action, of course, obviously what we do, what I believe is selfless action.
Selfless action. So action is the proof.
So there is a beautiful saying in Parobhagarartham idam sharira, which means the only purpose of this body, of course it's an extreme thing, but this is my ideal, my philosophy, I say. They say Parobhagarartham idam shariram, this body is for the sake of others.
Beautiful. Yes, it's beautiful saying.
Not for yourself.
No. Very good. Yeah.
So this I have always had at the back of my philosophy. I mean, all the time, and I'm all the time reminded of this. I mean, at least I remind myself all the time. Whenever any selfish desire, apparently selfish desire comes in, this big stick is there with me. Knock it on its head.
No,
and the thing is that there is so much of joy.
In de Deep Ashram in Gurgaon ontmoeten wij bij toeval vader Sebastian uit Rome, die het hoofd is van de orde The Missionaries of Charity. Deze orde is contemplatief ingesteld, maar richt zich ook op caritatief werk. Hier in de Deep Ashram leven monniken en geestelijk en lichamelijk gehandicapte kinderen bijeen. Een belangrijke pijler in het werk van deze ashram is de synthese tussen de innerlijke vrede en liefde die ervaren wordt in het gebed en de liefde die oprijst wanneer men zorg heeft voor hen die volkomen verstoten zijn.
And you comfort them and take care of them. What has that aspect to do with the worship of God?
I really feel that the worship of God, pure worship of God, cannot complete a twofold love of God and neighbor. As I would say, the example would be a bird. I take a bird which has two wings. Now if only one wing, the bird cannot fly. So as long as the bird has two wings, it can easily fly. In the same way, God has given us two commandments of love of God and love of neighbor. So when we worship God, we realize that also the God lives in the other person. So that then your service is absolutely necessary. That's why this place is called Ashram, which means ashram, a convent, a home of light. And it can be a light to others. So we worship God in the one hand, also we serve the poorest of the poor. Where here in this house, right now we have about 42 mentally and physically handicapped boys who have no home, nor parents, nobody else in the world. If we do not take care of them, of course God may not abandon them, but he may find somebody else perhaps, but they could be on the street. So the service is completed by prayer and prayer is completed by service. And that's why we insist on these twofold aspects of love of God and love of neighbor. I don't know if we really speak of worship of God, God is also in the other person. Now this presence of God is very real. So we, in prayer, we meet God. In the service, we serve that God whom we meet in prayer. This is it. Thank you.
Sri Aurobindo en de Mother hebben zich tijdens hun leven ingezet voor een vrij en onafhankelijk India. Bovendien ontwikkelden zij een nieuw concept over yoga. Een belangrijk thema was dat een mens in de maatschappij kan blijven en door spirituele discipline zich verder kan ontwikkelen. Men hoeft zich niet af te zonderen in de bossen en grotten om een spiritueel leven te leiden en moet leren de verleidingen in de wereld te boven te komen. In de ashram hadden wij een gesprek met een Amerikaanse meubelmaker, Michael Virat, die al enige jaren een timmermanswerkplaats heeft waar jongens uit de armste lagen van de bevolking een opleiding kunnen volgen. Wij vroegen hem wat dit werk met spiritualiteit te maken heeft.
Work to do with spirituality?
Well, that's a good question because it has a lot to do with it. Let me just tell you a little bit about the program and we'll get into... we get about 60 young men and women, and for our vocational training program, and they come for a period of 6 months. They choose a carpentry or handmade paper or photo lamination or welding or kitchen or sewing or whatever. And they come from poor backgrounds from all over India. We teach them English. They have English classes. They have meditation classes. They do sports. They learn They learn the languages and the songs from different parts of India. It's an excellent program. It's an excellent program. And with what I do is just teach carpentry. But through carpentry, I'm basically teaching how to work, how to think, and how to meditate. Because if a guy can focus his attention, then he can be creative. And it doesn't matter what vehicle you use to teach that. You can teach that with anything. But what what I find that works is, I don't allow chit-chat. I make the kids work. And so in one sense I'm tough, but in the other sense all they got to do is look in my eyes and they see I'm the toughness is just on the outside. So they love it. They really love the course. And the change that happens is incredible. In 6 months, they come in and they've dropped out of school. Society's got nothing to offer them. And they go back with a lot.
In de Sri Aurobindo Ashram in Delhi hadden wij een gesprek met de leidster Taraji. Zij is opgegroeid bij Sri Aurobindo en de Mother. Normaal is een ashram een stille, contemplatieve plaats, maar hier in Delhi staan verschillende scholen met ongeveer 3000 kinderen. De ashram heeft het onderwijs als een van zijn belangrijkste activiteiten gemaakt. Alle mensen in de ashram zien de ontwikkeling van de jeugd als een spirituele discipline.
You see, Sri Aurobindo did not believe that it was necessary to retire from life to practice his yoga. He did not negate life as in the previous yogas. So we normally say that Sri Aurobindo's yoga begins where other yogas end. You can go and sit in the Himalayas all by yourself, totally away from life, and you can say, I have conquered greed, I have conquered lust, I have conquered sex, I have conquered temptation, I have conquered everything, because nothing is around. Sri Aurobindo believed that it was necessary to live in life and change your nature, transform your nature. And he believed that it is only by the transformation of one's being to a higher being that there will be ultimately another being. Just as we have evolved from the monkey to the man, there will be another evolution which will come faster if there is an aspiration, if there is an effort by the humanity to move towards this higher being. And for that we have to transform ourselves. So it is not running away from life that is important in his yoga. In his yoga you have to change your nature, be surrounded by all the temptations and yet not be tempted by anything. So since we do not retire from life, an ashram life helps you to be living with like-minded people. We are living with like-minded people, all working towards a similar aim. Also places where people meditate sitting together and they acquire very strong atmospheres. Like if you go to the meditation hall, you can feel, the minute you step inside the gate, from outside, you can feel the difference. It's not just something that you imagine. It's really quite there. Physical that is there. So these all happen because there is a group of people that are aspiring towards something higher. So it helps. Again, as I said, we don't retire from life and we have to take up some activity. So the Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch has taken education and youth as the main thrust of its activities. That's how we are running so many schools, and the school was also a village school when it started in 1956. And today Delhi has invaded. It was 7 miles away from Delhi. Now Delhi has invaded us and now we are in the heart of the city. So the school has also changed its character. But we continue to work in the field of education and for youth. And along with that we also, all our activities, no matter what we are doing, whether it's a dance and music school, whether it's a Mirambika Free Progress School or Mothers International School, all these activities have a spiritual base which we inculcate into the child right from the beginning. Right from kindergarten, our children learn to sit quiet to say their prayers, we don't say we are making the children meditate, but 1 minute of sitting quiet, making the child understand that it is necessary every day to be quiet for a few minutes. That training we start right from the kindergarten and build it up.
Dr. Tarun Baweja is arts in de ashram. Wij vroegen hem wat het werk als arts nu met spiritueel werk te maken heeft. Op het moment van dit interview is hij net terug uit de Indiase staat Orissa, waar een orkaan enorme schade heeft aangericht. Waarom werkt hij in de ashram? En is hij gericht op het welzijn van mensen die onder moeilijke omstandigheden leven?
Also your wife is the same, but she spends most of her time in slums and among people who need care, education and health very much. So how do these things fit into the spiritual life, the life of contemplation? Normally it is associated with the life of contemplation. But this is working in the world with sick people and needy people. How does it fit in the spiritual field?
We have a term called integral yoga. Ideally, the word yoga is enough to explain what these days we try to explain by integral yoga. Yoga means to unite, and as far as I have understood, it means the union of soul or individual with the God or the universal. And rest is the process. So the whole life, as I see, is an attempt that individual is uniting with God. They have fragmentations like bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga. But if you deeply think on yoga, that word is enough, and those fragments are not necessary. It's more of analyzing, but after analysis there has to be a synthesis. So that is what my idea about spiritual life is. And being in this profession, there are certain advantages that you can have an experience of working with all classes of people, with all backgrounds. So that give you an experience of the world in a widest possible spectrum. Rich, poor, Indians, foreigners, and within India different communities with different beliefs. So this simultaneous analysis and synthesis process becomes simpler, and the association with the ashram is always an added good fortune, to be constantly reminded that the direction the life is to take.
Al duizenden jaren wordt bij de zonsondergang de Arati gevierd. Hier gedenkt men het licht. Het licht in de wereld en het licht in de mens. De rituelen en de offergaven van bloemen die aan de gangers worden geofferd, herinneren aan de woorden van de Bhagavad Gita. Wat je mij ook aanbiedt, een bloem, een blaadje, een stukje fruit of wat water. Ik neem het aan, want het is met een zuiver hart geofferd.
Tvamādidevah Purushah Purāṇah Tvamasya Vishvasya Param Nidhānam Tvamādidevah Purushah Purāṇah Tvamasya Vishvasya Param Nidhānam Vittasi Vidyam Cha Param Cha Dhama Tvaya Tatam Vishwamananta Rupa Tvaya Tatam विश्वमनन्तरूप वायुर्यमोऽग्निः वरुणः शशाङ्कः प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहश्च वायुर्यमोऽग्निः वरुणः शशाङ्कः प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहश्च नमो नमस्तेऽस्तु सहस्रकृत्वः